let's keep it rolling here. It is 9:50. I see our next speaker backstage. If we can bring her on, there she is, Mina Sooch. She's the founder and CEO of Ocuphire Pharma, ticker OCUP. Ocuphire, excuse me. Mina, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having Ocuphire at the Benzinga Healthcare Conference today. Okay, thank you, everyone. And again, happy to be here at the Benzinga Conference. And as we are a public company, I just direct you to our disclosures as we will be making forward-looking statements. So who is Ocuphire? We are a late-stage ophthalmic story with 2 drug candidates, Nixol, an eye drop for various front-of-the-eye diseases, and APX3330, an oral tablet for various retinal diseases, starting initially in the diabetic population. What's really unique about the story, besides these multiple indications and assets, is that we have significant clinical data on both of these assets. Nixol now has 9 trials completed, several hundred subjects, and APX3330 has 11 trials completed, several hundred subjects. Also want to point out that we have significant patent protection out to 2034 and beyond. And in both cases, they're small molecules. So they have many benefits, including convenience to the customer, but also a lot of manufacturing and cost of goods sold advantages. But the real thing we want you to remember about Ocuphire, both now and at the end of the presentation, is we are a catalyst-rich story, which is great for investors, small, medium, and large. We said when we went public through reverse merger last November that we would conduct 4 trials across these 2 assets. And we've done that. We've initiated all 4, and proud to share that we have presented top line and actually full positive data readouts on 2 of those trials, a phase 3 and a phase 2. We'll tell you more about those. And we've also been very good capital stewards in that we've raised about $50 million all in since I founded the company in 2018. And we still have $24 million on our balance sheet as of the end of the last quarter. And so we're excited again to continue to execute. And so let me show you more about these indications we're working on right here. So what are we trying to solve? Nixol actually reduces your pupil size, simply put. So we're going after rapidly reversing that dilated eye when you're in an exam, having an alternative for these, the reading glasses, have an eye drop as an alternative, and remove the halos and glares for some that are very apparent at night when driving. These represent millions and millions and millions of patients and multi-billion-dollar market opportunities and a blockbuster revenue potential for Nixol. On the right for APX3330, similarly, very large established 10 billion plus market today, but we're going to go after it disruptively with an oral approach. Unlike the current treatments, are injections into the eye every month or 2. And we're offering a daily oral regimen, especially in the earliest stages of disease in diabetic. And we have both an anti-VEGF and an anti-inflammatory pathway that we address, which is exactly how the current treatment options are utilizing. So validated pathways, but we're upstream with a novel target. So large markets, large unmet needs. This is just a sort of snapshot summary of our pipeline to just show you that we've had multiple indications that we've progressed. You can see the 2 positive data readouts, one in reversal of mydriasis, phase 3, and one in presbyopia, phase 2. We also continue to recruit our night vision phase 3 program and our diabetic retinopathy phase 2B program. So excited to have, again, a portfolio so that we can provide, again, I think, significant catalyst and also provide some risk mitigation with multiple shots on goal. And just to show with some numbers that depth of data, and really I'd point one additional piece of data out, which is we have data out to a month with Nixol and out to a year daily dosing with APX3330, just further reinforcing the safety profile confidence we have in both programs. So let's start with Nixol. It is our most advanced program. And I'm really just going to touch on RM and presbyopia with the time we have and given the recent data readouts. So Nixol, it is an active ingredient that's already been approved by the FDA. It was a 505(b)(2) pathway, therefore, for us now. And they were injection-oriented products that were for lowering blood pressure and reversing oral anesthesia. We are the first to take it to the eye and create a proprietary formulation that's protected out to 2034 and beyond. And what the mechanism does is very simple. alpha-1, it's an alpha-1 blocker, and alpha-1 receptors are on your iris dilator muscle, shown here in a spoke fashion. And when you relax or inhibit them, it creates a smaller pupil. And so the properties of our product profile to date with our clinical work has demonstrated the following, that we can reduce the pupil moderately, which means about 1 to 1.5 millimeters in diameter. And that provides that improvement in contrast or night vision, that near vision improvement, and that distance vision as well. We've seen a very clean safety profile. It actually works for more than 24 hours, which is unique to eye drops. And in addition, we're preservative-free and stable, which is also the right direction to go as we think about safety long-term with an eye drop. So let's go into the first indication, reversal of mydriasis. There's 100 million exams. And really the problem we're solving for is that that dilated eye or the larger eye can last for 6 to 24 hours after your physician has dilated your both of your eyes. And it creates significant sensitivity to light and an inability to read, work, play, drive, safely and productively. And we want to more rapidly reverse that pupil and give you something just after the dilated exam is over or procedure is over. So we ran a phase 3 trial. I want to comment that's randomized, double-masked, placebo-controlled, parallel arm study, 12 sites in the US. It was a 1-day study, and we had tested 3 different dilating or mydriatic agents, and then we provided Nixol. I would make one additional comment that we recruited the study from mid-November 2020 to the end of 2020 and reported out our results by mid-March. So very rapid development of these programs and readouts as well. And here's the data. In the green box on the left panel, you can see that we have achieved first statistical significance of a p-value less than 0.0001, actually at all time points shown in addition to the primary. And at 90 minutes, we showed a 49% of Nixol returning patients back to their baseline pupil diameter size compared to 7% on placebo. These are outstanding clinically meaningful results. And you can see that same magnitude across the time points. You can also see it visually if you want to think about it. Instead of as responders, which is our primary, some of our secondaries are to look at the absolute pupil diameter size. You can just see that rapid blue line getting back to 5 millimeters average baseline and then actually getting that extra 1 millimeter. We had data with all 3 agents showing statistical significance. We had data with light and dark eyes working, and we also worked with 2 drops and 1 drop, and we had a nice safety profile and tolerability. So really what we want to share is that we're on a path to submit an NDA for Nixol late next year at around this time or just shortly after this time next year. We only have 3 things left to do to get to that finish line, which is to do a second pivotal phase 3, very similar to the MIRA 2 results I've just highlighted for you. Do a small PED study because the drug's actually safe down to 3 years old in that oral reversal indication. So the FDA wants us to make sure we can make it accessible by doing this safety study. And we also need to have 1 year stability in manufacturing of our commercial or registration batches. And proud to say as well there that our manufacturing work has been going well in the background and it's now on stability. And so the clock has started. And the market opportunity, if there's about 100 million exams and our global data market research suggests about $10, $15 is a really nice price point, private pay for patients, you can see that it could be a $1 billion market opportunity. There is no competition. We're the only ones that have advanced a clinical program. We're the only ones working on the iris dilator muscle, which is the right muscle to work on. And physicians dilate their patients and will be our advocate to patients for an option to more rapidly reverse. So we're excited at creating a several hundred million revenue opportunity very quickly in RM, hopefully starting in 2023 if we're approved. So with that, I'm going to move to our second indication, presbyopia. This is the largest ophthalmic segment, 120 million people, essentially everyone over the ages of 40 or 45 will basically lose their ability to see near. And so from a dollar point of view, if it's private pay, $50 to $100, you can imagine it's a 10 to 20 billion market opportunity. It is a new market. And so it will be like the statin world where, it'll build over time, but it's likely going to become one of the largest ophthalmic segments, if not one of the largest disease segments. And there's never been an eye drop. You've always been dependent on corrective lenses, whether they're glasses or contact lenses. So what we've done is taken Nixol, same properties I've demonstrated in the RM trial, but we've actually completed 8 other trials in addition to this trial here I'm going to show you in presbyopia, which is 9 trials, which consistently show the safety, the 1 millimeter to millimeter and a half reduction, as well as the 24-hour durability. So you can take Nixal at night in a chronic indication and be good all day. But we needed to add another agent because the moderate modulation doesn't quite get us to the pinhole, which is the thesis for how you can approach eye drops. We call them pinhole eye drops. So we're in a field of about 6 other players, and we knew 2-3 years ago we wanted to add another agent. We chose pilocarpine, but we chose a low dose, 0.4%. Pilocarpine's been around for a long time. It's approved in glaucoma for 4 times a day at 1, 2, or 4%. We chose a fractional dose because we only need a moderate contribution by the only other muscle that controls your pupil, the sphincter muscle, as well as we want to dial out known side effects that could be problematic in a indication such as presbyopia, such as headaches, redness, or a loss of distance vision. So here we ran a phase 2 trial, although it's run like a well-controlled phase 3 trial. It was randomized, double-masked, placebo-controlled, multi-center, 17 sites in the US. And we were basically looking for the combo Nixal plus low-dose Pilo to beat placebo, but also to beat the components. And here you can see in green box the primary endpoint, which is a 3-line gain in near vision. And we had 61% of subjects have that benefit compared to 28% on placebo. P-value, very strong P-value. But so that was fantastic. But in addition, you can see we had nice results throughout all the time points, really speaking to the durability, which is at least 6 hours. We didn't measure past 6 hours with nice statistics and signals. We had a very rapid onset, closer to a 45% placebo-corrected signal. And we also showed Nixal alone had a nice solid signal, as well as it worked in both eye colors. So really, excited to advance this program into phase 3 as a result of these study data. And also on safety, happy to report 0 headaches and brow aches. That is not the case for several competitors, including Allergan and others that use pilocarpine in their solution. We had less than 5% redness, and we also saw no distance loss in photopic and just around 5% in mesopic, which is an important attribute for the FDA. You can't gain near at the expense of far is the message that we were all given. So I'm also happy to share that we presented this data at industry meeting that was in person in Las Vegas this past July. And we actually were able to do it in the same session that Allergan, who has actually submitted their NDA, shared their phase 3 data. And when you look at what's important to customers and patients, efficacy, of course, it has to work, safety, no headaches, no loss of distance, durability, onset, convenience, you can see that we essentially have a best-in-class profile here and a differentiated profile. We do need 2 drops, a drop in the evening and a drop in the morning. But given the durability, lack of durability of some of the other programs, we're right in line with 2 or 3 drops, as many others are in a day if you want full coverage. And here's the landscape that I just alluded to. And again, our next steps are we're advancing this into phase 3 mid next year. And again, we're differentiated not only on the data and the profile, but also on the science. We're the only ones working on both muscles. So big market, big opportunity. We're excited to be a fast follower and really let Allergan build some of the consumer awareness, assuming they get approved with their PDUFA date this December. It's going to be great for the field, and look forward to being a differentiated option for patients in a few years. So I'm not going to comment on night vision disturbance, except to say that that study is ongoing, and it's a phase 3 double-masked randomized placebo-controlled study that will read out early next year. So I want to spend a few minutes on APX 3330 because it's a really exciting second asset in our portfolio. And what's the problem we're solving here? There are some treatment options, the Eylea, Lucentis, these injections that are more geared towards diabetic macular edema or wet AMD. And there's a lot of research and development in geographic atrophy and dry AMD, et cetera, as well as in DR. But no one's approaching it with, 1, an oral option, and 2, that's as advanced as ours is. But really, no one's treating these patients today. There's about 7 million plus of them. And they're really not started on an anti-VEGF injectable treatment, even though Eylea is approved for that indication. And untreated, it can result in the significant vision loss. Retinal diseases are the leading cause of blindness. And so we're excited to bring something that makes sense in that earlier part of the disease sequela and offer an oral option. But in addition, the responder rates are not where they need to be, particularly in DME patients, because they have both an inflammation cascade as well as this leaky fluid or leaky vasculature creates fluid buildup in the back of your eye, which is what causes the ultimate vision loss and blindness. So with that, what's our program? APX3030 is an oral tablet that is a transcription factor inhibitor/regulator of HIF1 alpha and NF kappa B. So it works upstream of the known VEGF and the known inflammatory pathways, which is really a lot of de-risking. So we're not trying to reinvent how we're approaching solving for the disease. We're just working upstream with our oral small molecule. And here I'm happy to report that we have, again, 11 studies that have been completed. Our safety profile in humans is very clean, over 300 subjects, less than 5% GI or skin rash were the only two signals, and they were mild. No acute organ toxicities, otherwise safe profile. Twice a day dosing, you get this nice steady state and with this human safety. And we also have very good preclinical data and PK data in order to have confidence that we have a good chance of showing benefit in the diabetic population. I should note that of the 11 earlier studies that were completed, 10 were in the liver, which is why we're not expecting any liver signals, by Eisai in Japan, and one was in cancer, which is also similar to the origins of Eylea and Lucentis. So with that as a backdrop, here's our phase 2b design. Again, randomized double-masked placebo-controlled 24-week study, essentially a similar design to the pivotal single study phase 3 that was done for Eylea to get approval in DR. So you can just imagine, hopefully, the value inflection that will be created as a result of this data readout second half of next year. And to summarize that, we would be the first oral. We have this novel mechanism, a convenient daily regimen, this nice oral safety profile. And really, the last point is really what many of the other players and our comparables in the industry, whether it's Kodiak or folks like Adverum or Graybug or others that have worked in the field, that they're trying to alleviate the frequent burden of injections. Well, we can also do that by looking at future trials in combination with an anti-VEGF and having APX3030 or one of the pipeline candidates, either in an oral or a local delivery format, be available for these indications. So we're just getting started with diabetic retinopathy, and we look forward to the other indications and also addressing one of the basic problems in retinal care today, which is that frequency of the injections. So with that, here's our team. A couple of folks, Amy and Charlie, will be joining me in the question and answer, but we are an experienced team with 20, 30 years of pharmaceutical drug development experience, finance, M&A backgrounds, and really a passion for being entrepreneurs and building value in these assets that we've brought forward at Ocuphire. We also have a great group of medical advisory boards that are world-class key opinion leaders, well recognized in their field for front and back of the eye on a global basis. And we have a board that is made up of very successful executives and individuals that have run biotech companies, private and public, in ophthalmology and many other disease areas, and really, as well as depth in ophthalmology in commercial, and really provide us great guidance on our journey. And with that, my final slide is on milestones, to just say that we have been very productive in 2021, hit our 2 positive data readouts, some new claims out to 2039, presented at industry meetings, the data from those 2 studies, manufactured drug, and we're going to launch some more studies before year end. So what should you look forward to next year? 3 more data readouts in early 2022, phase 3 NVD, a second phase 3 RM pediatric data, and then later in the year, file that NDA, and then later in the year, have the phase 2 data as well for DR DME. All of this is funded. I did actually have a few slides on some of our financial transactional statistics. Just we're under 100 million compared to our peer group. That's well below their values, whether they play in the front of the eye or especially the retina. And also we have great coverage analysts with nice price targets between 22 and 29. We've got some nice liquidity as we approach our 1-year anniversary of being public, and just look forward to many of you taking a closer look at Ocuphire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mina. I'll bring on Charlie and Amy here. We don't really have that much time for more questions, but there was one, and I think he kind of already answered it, but I would like you to repeat it. It was from our chat regarding partnerships with major pharmaceuticals. I think you already talked about that, but can you just re-emphasize that?
Yeah, actually, I'll have Charlie take that question.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah, so we've had, since founding the company 3 years ago, Mina has made it a priority to consider the strategic future, and we've had meetings with both medium-sized pharmas who are specializing in ophthalmology and with the large players that are the global ones. So we're in active discussions with regard to Asia in particular, as a way perhaps to raise a little bit of non-dilutive capital in the form of an upfront on a regional deal there. And I think we have an open dialogue with all of the big players. They know what we're up to, and they know when the data will be available. So we continue to work that all the time.
Awesome. Mina, Charlie, Amy, we are out of time, but thank you all so much for joining the Benzinga Small Cap Healthcare Conference. Mina, thanks a lot for coming on. Everyone, thanks a lot for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.